Hey, what's up? How's it going, everyone? I wasn't planning on making a video today, but was working with a client earlier today, and something important came up, and I didn't want to forget it. It's super important. It's something that you may not want to hear, something that you may not like to hear. But as far as my life experience has gone, this is fact, this is the truth, and it's all about how to change, how to really change. And yeah, I got a black eye. This is from my abusive wife. No, I'm just kidding. This is from jiu-jitsu. Um, the thing is that, you know, real change, whether it's, a diet or, some becoming stronger, becoming happier. I was actually working with two clients today, and this topic came up for both people. If you want to become happier, if you want to become more confident, if you want to um, rise out of your depression, any type of change, whether it's physical, mental, that we want to actually make real and lasting change, takes time. It takes attention more than time because it can be done very quickly if you put more attention and more of your time into it. Okay? But consistency, discipline, patience are important. I'm going to read to you what I was telling one of my clients today, and then I'll go into this in more detail, okay? But in case there are still some of you tuned in after I said those words, patience, discipline, time, those are words that nobody wants to hear, right? But it's just the facts. It's the facts. And look, we have something huge working in our advantage. Time passes. It passes quickly sometimes. And if you just start doing a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow, you don't have to do much. Time passes quickly. So you'll find that 3 months will go by and you'll be like, oh, I wish I started this 3 months ago, or I wish I started this 4 or 5 months ago. And 6 months will actually go by and it's not that much time. I mean, sure, it can be an amazing amount of time. A lot will be accomplished in that amount of time. But what I mean is when you look back, it's quick, it's fast. So here's the a section of the conversation I was having with one of my clients today. Okay, so I told him, hey, I read your email and I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but it's important that you focus on yourself. Change doesn't happen in a month or even 6 months. So this person, by the way, um, is talking to me about how they've changed, and okay, and look, I get it. The world we live in, we expect things to happen quickly, and we've been conditioned. Anyway, let me continue with my email. So, and I know this is probably not what you want to hear. Change doesn't happen in a month or even 6 months. We can try to jump and reach for change, and sure, we will most likely touch it like you have. But by jumping for it, we'll only really get to touch it. Gravity will always bring us back down. And if we jump too high to try to touch that change, we could get hurt when we land. Now, I'll stop there for a second. What I mean by that is, A lot of us want quick fixes. For example, rebound dating when you're hurt and alone and lonely and you know, you need that something. Sure, a rebound date is a great example of what I'm talking about here when you just jump to touch that thing. Okay, yeah, you're going to jump and you're going to get it for a second or a few seconds, but gravity's going to pull you back down. You're going to be back to where you started quickly. And as I said in my email to this person, if you jump too high to try to get somewhere quickly, when you land, you could break your ankle, you could hurt yourself, and you could make yourself worse off than where you were originally. Okay? So this is what I mean by that. So let me continue here. Real change happens more slowly, with more patience and more discipline. It happens over time with attention. And because we live in a world that has trained us to get things quickly, it can be a little bit more difficult doing things in this way. But it is the correct way and it's worth it. Rather than jumping to touch a new version of yourself, you have to start climbing step by step each day and firmly establish and absorb every tiny millimeter of change that you achieve. So that's how we do it. It's the same in jiu-jitsu. When you're looking at dominating your opponents, we don't just jump straight for the head or jump straight for an arm. What we do is we start at the toes and we grab. We start with the feet. We establish that position. Then we move to the knees. Then we move to the hips. It's like very similar to an octopus or a python, a snake, or an anaconda, slowly moving up and absorbing everything. Okay, so this is how real change is made, and it's the same with diets, and I'll come to that in a second. So real change happens more slowly. Again, I know this is not what you want to hear. Try and understand that most of us having problems are suffering a form of addiction. Anyway, so I'm going to stop it right there. The rest of it gets a bit personal and it's maybe not so relevant for this video. For this video, I want to talk about, as I was coaching this person in the restaurant that I was in, a friend of mine, a new friend that I made over the last month. He's Mongolian, very, very cool guy. He's a fighter, fit, tough, and we share information about health. So, for example, I was telling them about ginger tea and why it's really good to do every day. How I made it a habit over time. Again, this didn't happen overnight for me. It took me, a few years to get into the rhythm, and now it's become a habit that whenever I have free time, whenever I'm home, I just put the kettle on, I chop some ginger, put it in my cup, and I just drink it. And it's great for your organs, your brain, your nervous system, your circulation, your muscles. It brings down the inflammation in our body, and most of us have a tremendous amount of inflammation all over our body, whether it's in your liver, your kidneys, your intestines, all around our body. This is almost like a fire department, just pouring water, cooling down all the inflammation in your body. So he shared with me from Mongolia. He recently had these mushrooms. I can't remember the exact name of these mushrooms, but they are incredibly powerful. I was just doing some reading on them, and they're very good for the immune system. So he shares with me, I share with him, and this is how we all can share and lift each other up. But he was talking to someone, and he mentioned to them, hey, they only started taking this yesterday. You boil this, it's kind of, you make a tea out of these mushrooms and you drink it. It's not the funky mushrooms that we're talking about. Just this is something else. And he said, hey, have you noticed anything with the mushrooms? He was asking his friend. And I couldn't help just thinking that, this is how most of us think. We think that, okay, I'm going to do ginger tea today and I'm going to see the difference tomorrow. No. Where you are now, your body, your skin, the way you think, majority of where you are now is from what you were doing 3 months ago. Okay? This is why a lot of people, when they get into diets, they fail because they're again trying to jump to get that change. And the way that you make real change is not by jumping to touch it, because like I said, when you jump, you're only going to touch it, but then you're going to fall back down. The best way to get to that goal of whether you want to be thinner, whether you want to be healthier, stronger, happier, more confident. Okay, the fact is, people, that the way we get there is step by step every day by incorporating new habits into your life and keeping them for life. You keep them for life. They become a part of your way of life. It's not that I'm going to do ginger tea for a month and then that's it. No, it becomes part of your habit, part of your way of life. So, with diets, the majority of people who do diets fail because they're going into it with the mindset of, I'm going to do a diet until I become healthy and then I'll be okay. And then they expect the diet to work in a week or in 2 weeks, and to be healed in a month. It's crazy, okay? It's just when you go into something with those types of expectations, of course you're going to feel depressed and miserable that, oh, things aren't working. But if you go into it with a correct mindset of, okay, I'm going to filter into my life these new changes and these new adjustments until they become habit, it's how you feed your body slowly and slowly, and then your body starts to adapt. Our bodies, we're not like X-Men where it's going to happen in a second. We are like X-Men, like Wolverine, where this will heal. It's amazing. Our bodies will heal and they'll change and it will adapt. We have incredible vessels that we get to call our bodies, our mind. This vessel that you have right now in front of you, look at it. Be blessed to have that. And you're in command of it. And you can filter into it things. So with diets, again, and with my friend asking his friend, hey, have you noticed anything from the mushrooms? It's not going to happen in a day. He's got to wait a month at least of doing it every day a little bit. And then after a month, he might start to see some. But the real changes, in my experience, are going to come after 2 months, after 3 months. That's why I always say no contact for at least 3 months. And if you really want to break an addiction, you've got to be put aside 6 months. Whether that addiction is a person, your ex, whether that addiction is, you being depressed, you being anxious, you've got to set yourself aside a period of 6 months. And if you can't be disciplined and patient and, consistent with doing this every day, it's okay. Do it 3 times a week. Do it 3 times a week, but keep in mind that, okay, you're gonna maybe extend it to a year that it might take. I'm okay with that. Like for me, I'm like, I don't mind if it takes a year, for me to become strong or healthy or, you know, for me that doesn't matter. Like I'm not in any rush. I realize and I understand that change takes comes over time. Real change comes over time. Sure, we can all touch and reach that fast, quick change, and then we can try to hold on to it. So for any of you out there who are suffering breakups and your ex has gone into a rebound, that's what your ex has done. They've jumped into a new place, but they're holding on to it, and they're eventually, their weight is eventually going to crumble it and break it, and they're going to fall down. Okay, the way that you get to a new relationship, the way that you get to a new job, a new house, a new city to live in, a new group of friends, a new way of life, anything new, is you've got to work towards it. So you set your goals. And setting goals is so healthy for the mind, it's so healthy for our way of life to set these goals. So one of the big remedies, big answers that I have for a lot of the people that ask me for help and advice, like I'm depressed, I'm sad, what can I do, is set some goals. Sit down and set some goals. Like, for me, I have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 goals. Like, I want to make a movie. That's one of my big goals. Like a real movie, like a big movie. That's one of my goals. One of my other goals is right now writing, recording a new album for my band. Another goal is next year I want to compete at some of the top jiu-jitsu tournaments, in California. Another one of my goals is, physical goals of where I want to be physically, strength-wise, with my conditioning, with my ability to do, the sport, to be healthy, physically healthy. And then, of course, the ultimate goals of all for me are to have that mental focus, that command over my focus, that command over my attention, have that strength of attention and focus so that I won't be controlled by my emotions so easily. If someone hurts me, I won't be controlled by that emotion. I'll be able to observe the emotion and be like, yeah, that's the feeling of being pissed off. How are you feeling? I can see you're over there, but being in control, So setting goals, those are just a few of my goals. I have other goals, long-term goals, I have goals for the next 5 years, then I have goals for 5 years to 10 years, then I have goals for when I'm in my 50s, in my 60s, where I may not be able to kick so much ass in jiu-jitsu, or I may not be able to do certain things that I'm able to do now. I have goals for those things. So by setting these goals, by keeping them in mind, am I going to be thinking a lot about my goals that I'm going to be doing when I'm 60 now? No, not so much. I'll think about them occasionally, but I'm going to be thinking more about my goals for the next 5 to 10 years, right? So setting goals is wonderful. It's a wonderful way to help you get your mind off negative things, whether it's your ex or whatever, because then you put your mind onto something positive, that you're working towards. Okay, so set goals, write them down, treat it like homework. I like to, go to the bathhouse and I'll sit in the sauna and in the steam room or in the jacuzzi. And while I'm in there, I will be creating my goals or refining the goals in my head. I'll be like, okay, this is the type of movie I'm going to do, or this is the album I'm going to do, or this is how I want to look like. And visualizing where you're going to be, visualizing your goals taking shape. That's manifesting. That's the laws of attraction, some laws of attraction coming into play when you visualize where you want to be, visualize the things that are you're going to reach, okay? Common mistake, again, I was talking to one of my clients about this, when people manifest and visualize, is they focus too much on the negative things. Like they'll be like, in 2 years' time, I don't want to be depressed anymore. No, don't use those negative words. Don't even think about the depression, the anxiety, they do not need to be brought up. into mind. Instead, you want to think about in 2 years' time how happy and confident you're going to be. Those are the things that you want to be in your mind. Those words, happiness, confidence, okay? It's not about not thinking about your ex. It's not about stop thinking about negative thoughts. It's about increase thinking about the positive things. Increase thinking about the strength and the future and your goals. So, yes, by increasing your diet of healthy thoughts and health, setting these goals and these visualizations are positive thoughts. That's healthy thoughts. Okay, so when you increase your diet of healthy thoughts, you're going to leave less room for the negative thoughts. You're going to condition and train yourself to think of those positive thoughts more and more each day. So, for anyone out there who has made this decision to come onto this path of continuous improvement, of mental strength conditioning, of strengthening, enhancing our lives and mastering our attention, mastering our life, coming onto this path of self-empowerment, this path of, as I said in my video the other day, the path of reaching or moving closer and closer each day to your full potential. Okay? This path that we are all on, if those of you out there are on, that we're sharing with each other, that we're moving on together, is all we need to focus on. Rather than trying to chase money or trying to chase happiness or trying to chase our ex or trying to chase anything, bring your focus onto empowering, improving, energizing yourself. And all those things will be absorbed into your life, will be attracted into your life. That's the laws of attraction. That's how it works. I don't like giving it a name, laws of attraction. I'm just not a huge fan of that. Just if it helps you to think of it that way, that's great. But for me, I just think of it as improve yourself, enrich yourself, health-wise, physically, mentally, spiritually. Just you're basically filling yourself up with health, good things, whether it's good thoughts, positive thoughts, or foods, or activities, exercise, people, your environment, your work, the city you live in. As you filter all of those positive things into your life, all the junk, all the garbage will be expelled, will be let go, will be filtered out. As you do that, you're going to become a magnet. And I'm not saying this because it sounds good and it's encouraging and motivating. This isn't a sales pitch. This is just facts. When you start to resonate in a more powerful, positive way, what's going to happen is you're going to attract more powerful, successful, positive people into your life and things and opportunities, and you're no longer going to mix with the negative, toxic people and things and activities. They're no longer going to be interesting to you. It's just going to be like oil and water. It's not a case of that you're going to have to put all this effort to get away, get out of my life, negative people. No, it's just going to be like, oh, this no longer interests me. You'll encounter maybe negative people who are vibrating and emanating that sort of frequency, that sort of resonance, and it's just not going to be in line with yours, and you're just going to move away. And you're going to be drawn, you're going to be focusing on your path and drawn towards your goals, focused on your goals, and everything else that's in line with that way of living is going to be drawn into your life. It takes faith, it takes practice. When I say practice, it means it takes you actually doing this and seeing the results for you to start to believe in it more and do it more. But initially, it takes faith. It takes, but for me, it made a lot of sense the first time I heard all these things, and I've I've always been grateful and thankful and blessed that I haven't had to wait until I'm sick to do these health things. I haven't had to wait until, this and that so that I start. I've learned from my friends. I've been really lucky to have great friends who are nutritionists, into therapy, osteopathy, whatever it is, who many of them have learned through their suffering, through their pain. But I'm a believer that when we hear the truth, whether it's someone else who's saying it, we know the truth. All people know the truth. We all know the truth. And when we hear, even if it's someone else saying all these things, we feel like, yes, that's like my voice. It feels like someone else is saying the things that we believe that we just haven't been able to articulate. One of the people who was this comes to mind for me a lot is Joe Rogan. I'm sure some of you might be familiar with him. Not just him, but there's so many others. But when I first started hearing him speak, I was like, yes, this man makes sense. This is the truth. And we all can feel, actually, not all of us, but a lot of us can, actually, I think all of us know the truth. It's just some of us will deny it because it's too hard, because we believe that we can't achieve it. We'll deny it, We'll be afraid of it, we'll reject it, we'll resist it. But I do believe all of us deep inside, we know the truth. And when we hear the truth, we know it. So, first step is knowing the truth or hearing the truth. Second step is wanting to change. Okay? As I was telling one of my clients today that, look, I can show you the path. I can show you the way. Okay, that's not the difficult part. We have some of the world's best sports psychologists come in, train champions, how to be a champion. It's all about the mind. It's all about you have to be the champion now. Are you the champion now? That's what they'll tell them. Are you the champion right now? Or are you in the mentality that you want to become the champion? Because when you are in the mentality that you want to become the champion, you're always going to be in the state of trying to become the champion, trying to reach that place. You've got to change the mindset to be the champion, and then it will manifest in your life. Be the champion first. Be the change you desire first, and then it will manifest into your life. But if you're going to be setting your mind, our mind is like a complex frequency generator, and we can set it. Okay, and when we set it, that's where our life heads. If we're going to set our complex frequency to, I want to be the champion one day, then guess what? Every day until we die, we're going to want to be the champion someday. Okay? That's what we've set our mind to. I want to be rich someday. If you set your mind to that, then every single day from now until the day you die, you're going to want to be rich someday. But if you set your mind to, I am so grateful and thankful for the champion within me that is emerging more and more each day. Or if you can believe an affirmation like, I am so blessed to be the champion. You know, last thing I'm going to say is the other day I was watching John Jones. He's in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best fighters of all time. And they went into his locker room before his fight. He had his headphones on and he was shouting out loud before his fight, I am the champion. I am the champion. Okay? He is the champion, and he's shouting that anyway before his fight. He actually lost his championship belt because of something that he did, got in trouble with hit and run accident, so they took his belt away from him. So he's now fighting back to get his belt again. But this is what I'm talking about. So if you want to if you want to change, if you want to be confident, I am confidence. I am strength. I am power. I am energy. I am love. I am acceptance of all things. Don't say, I am not depression. I am not depressed. I am not angry. No, don't bring those words into your mind. Focus on the positive things. Okay? I am health. I am happiness. I am strength. Fill an entire page in your journal with I am happiness. Just every line. Do the whole page. Alright, so I hope something in here helps, and if you have questions or comments or anything, post them down below, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.